Part 2. Mocha, say hi. Hello, children. Damn, has it been 6 months now? My bad. This is the part 2 of the Every Prefecture Explained saga. If you haven't seen the first one, not that you need to watch it, the link's in the description. Like, comment, subscribe. Alright, let's do this. From Mie to Okinawa. Mie is one of those prefectures that makes you go, oh, that's from Mie? How many of you guys knew that the Azuki bar was from Mieke? Nobody? How about the Ise Grand Shrine, motorsports, or ninjas? Mie is the ninja capital of the world. Not a lot of people know that. Did you know that? You probably didn't. Shigaken's entire identity is this lake. If my Shiga didn't have this lake, which strangely looks like the Awaji Island but flipped over, it would easily be the most looked over prefecture in Japan. Like, Shimane levels of forgotten. Look at this landscape. If you're ever like, oh yeah, Biwako is just alright, they'll threaten to take away your water rights. That's how serious they are with their big ass lake. Yeah, this, and this is cool. Oh, but the lake. God, this lake's fucking awesome. Also, they hate Kyoto. Kinda like a little brother syndrome. We have lake, they don't, so fuck them. To outsiders, Kyoto looks like a mystical place of history and culture. To insiders, they're narcissists who think they're better than everyone else. And this isn't just the rest of Japan who thinks like this. Kyotoans are proud of their rude reputation, constantly calling the rest of Japan uncivilized. Their dialect evolved to be the rudest of all of Kansai. Never challenge a Kyotoan to a superiority complex contest. Biggest mistake of my life. To outsiders, Osakans look like violent, rude people who like to steal shit. To insiders, they're nice people who A, are funny, and B, know how to make gourmet meals. Every Osakan has at least one takoyaki grill, one okonomiyaki set, and 20 different types of sauces. Also, it's manners to ask an Osakan to say something funny. Trust me, they like it when people say that. Shirankero. Hyogo is another prefecture contested for the center of Japan. You really have to squint at it though. This prefecture has Kobe, like the beef, and Himeji Castle is the most famous castle in the world, I think. In the south, this island's lore is pretty crazy. According to Japanese legends, this is where Izanagi and Izanami first created the islands of Japan from Awaji then outward. By standing on the floating bridge of heaven and stirring the primeval ocean with the heavenly jeweled spear, they created the first landmass. Izanagi's tomb is even located here. Secondly, the big onion statue can be found here as well. If you like onions, Awaji Island is like Onion Haven. They have good onions. And another cool thing to mention is that the second largest suspension bridge in the world connects the island to the mainland, which is pretty cool, I guess. Nara is probably the most distinct prefecture of them all. Buddhist and deer, what a cool thing to be known for. They're like Kyoto but humble. Now, I could confidently say without a doubt, out of all the prefecture mascots, Nara's mascot is the ugliest one. They combined a deer and a monk. Instead of going with the deer monk, they went with a monk deer. What on God were they thinking? Wakayama is a lot similar to Nara, but instead of being known for Buddhism and deer, they're known for Buddhism and fruits. They produce like a good 70% of plums in Japan. But really when you say Wakayama, you think of oranges. Out of all the orange prefectures, Wakayama comes in first for production, even though Ehime is more famous for oranges itself. Good job, Ehime. Tottori is more than just sand, okay? There's some cool hot springs, cool temples, big Eon, and apparently a lot of crabs too. Enough for it to be found in school cafeterias. About that sand thing, Tottori is home to the largest desert in Japan. School kids ride camels to get to school, trust me. Honestly, Tottori isn't the best place to be in. It's the least populated and least popular prefecture for the reasons I'm putting on screen right now. If I were to compare it to a country, it would probably be the Haiti of Japan. Shimane is like Tottori without the sand. Don't tell Shimaneites that though. They'll put you on a raft and push you out to sea. They are so traditional with basically everything that there's not a single computer in Shimane. Look it up. It's even on Wikipedia. Pop quiz. Which one is Shimane and which one is Tottori? I'll give you 3 seconds. Ready? Tick, 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 tick. Here's the answer. You're not gonna believe how often people get them mixed up. Okayama is honestly the most average prefecture. The rural parts are rural. The city parts are pretty city. The culture is pretty cultural, and the nature is pretty natural. The one thing Okayama is known for is the story of Momotaro, which you could check out in this video right here. Okayama has some cool factories, Toyland, the author of Naruto is from here. God, this place is average. Hiroshimans aren't known for being the nicest people in the world. And what I mean by that is that the stereotype is delinquents on flashy motorbikes going to gang wars and fighting the police. The Hiroshiman accent, which by the way is the talking style of thugs, gang members, and the Yakuza, sounds like they're getting ready to throw a punch at you. Another thing Hiroshima is known for is okonomiyaki, which in my perspective is better than the Osakan variety. You see, I'm not all biased. Fuck the carbs though. If you're on this channel, Taiyo whales all the way, bitch. Yamaguchi. For such a dull name, and the fact that it's the Japanese equivalent of Iowa, is probably the most important prefecture in history. It's home to the Choshu Han, one of the two domains that overthrew the government back in 1868. Ito Hirobumi, Yoshida Shoin, Takasugi Shinsaku, and even Shinzo Abe was born here. And the history of this prefecture goes back thousands of years. Now it's more or less known as the Forgettable One, or hey, the author of Evangelion is from here. Very underrated prefecture, I feel bad for them kinda. Tokushima-ken is the most forgettable prefecture in Japan, period. All they got for them is the Awaodori festival. It's the Mardi Gras of Japan. They get fucking lit and then irrelevant until the next year. If you stretch it, this patch of ocean is pretty cool. They got Surachi, which is kinda like a lime thingy. This top tier blue dye, which is good at keeping bacteria away. Sobagome Zose. Kagawa. Before I say anything, two things that should pop up in your mind are kukai and udon. Udon is such a big thing in Kagawa that the average person can name at least 20 different udon franchises and around 50 different styles of udon. By the way, Kagawa is the smallest prefecture in Japan, smaller than Osaka and even Okinawa, and yet they have around 700 udon restaurants. For comparison, Rhode Island has around 80 burger chains. Kagawa is the king of udon, and it's a proud title they hold. Food is like a really big thing there. Kochi-ken. Before I say anything, two things that should pop up in your mind are Sakamoto Ryoma and Katsuo. This guy deserves an entire episode around him. Here's the go for the Sakamoto Ryoma episode. Other than that, Yuzu, Eggplant, Yosakoi Festival. This place is pretty much identical to Tokushima. The last thing I want to mention is that beloved kid show Anpanman was created here. Isn't that cool? The author, Yanase Takashi, was a sergeant in the Imperial Japanese Army, tasked with psychological warfare, pacifying local populations in occupied lands. Also, his younger brother died fighting in the Pacific. Reading his Wikipedia changed me, man. Personally, when I hear Ehime, I think airport. But to everyone else, Ehime is the orange prefecture. Oranges are such a big deal in Ehime, it comes out of their faucets, no joke. Fun fact, at Matsuyama Airport, the windows have oranges, there's a statue of a martini glass stack with a faucet on top draining orange juice, and a souvenir store that sells various orange-related products. Safe to say, Wakayama gets second place. Like the slogan for Ehime is Kankitsu Okoku, literally Citrus Empire. The mascot looks like this for fuck's sake. Fukuoka is the most American prefecture, and what I mean by that is that there's a shitload of pride, gun violence, and they like to act like dicks. Like on a scale from Miyazaki to Hiroshima, it's pretty close to Hiroshima. But honestly, their ego does make sense. They have the third most beautiful woman in all of Japan. Hakata Ben is like a pleasure to listen to. And they have the top 5 ramen in all of Japan. You decide the rankings. Too bad the prefecture's in the IRL Yakuza simulator though. There's a popular saying that goes along the lines of, Saga is stuck in the Yayoi period. The entire prefecture is paddy fields. It's the prefecture that runs the Saga International Balloon Fiesta, which makes sense it's hosted here because there are no high-rise buildings anywhere in the prefecture. The tallest building is like 5 stories tall max. Nagasaki is probably the hardest prefecture to get around to. It's hilly everywhere, riding a bike can be hell, and traffic is crazy. At least the public transportation is pretty good though. Apparently it has the second largest coastline despite its size. I guess that's interesting. And also, because of this prefecture, I had to learn about Portuguese trade port history at school and it was boring as shit. Kumamoto's entire economy revolves around this guy. I am dead serious right now. This bear is Japan's most famous mascot. In just 2 years, Kumamoto has generated $1.2 billion fucking dollars for Kumamoto, including tourism and product sales, as well as $90 million in publicity, cartoons, sumo wrestlers, trains, everything. If you thought the bathing rooms in Tokyo were kick-ass, wait till you go to Oita, where bathtubs come with floating oranges and a little funnel attached to the wall with hot springs naturally flowing from hell. Funny story, in Beppu, steam just naturally flows from the earth everywhere. When I was visiting, I walked past a small park with children playing soccer. It's called soccer in Japan. Right next to a giant mountain of thermal activity. Why'd they build a park here? What happens if a ball gets stuck on that? Miyazaki. This place is like the entirety of the Pacific condensed into one small area. Surfing, palm trees, Y puedes encontrar muy. The place doesn't look like Japan, doesn't it? The atmosphere feels like Guam or Palau. Also, the Miyazakians are statistically the nicest people in all of Japan. It's probably because they get to eat caviar every day. That's also another thing they got for them. Yume ni ai ni yuko. Kagoshimans are weird people, man. They barely speak Japanese, are basically immune to alcohol, and treat a volcanic eruption like another normal day. The perfect domain to start a revolution. Politically, this place is home to the Satsuma domain, allied with Choshu, led to the Meiji Restoration government. Saigo Takamori is pretty famous here. Let's get back to the barely speaks Japanese part because their dialect is crazy, man. It's pretty famous in Japan because it's like Tsugaru levels of unintelligibility. Here's a video about an interview with a Kagoshima native.
わっぜ音がしっせえよ。あたいら今朝台風かと思ってえよ。わ外へ出てみっせんはもうそこらよみたいな道路の向かいに荒れてた警察が止まって
This might be a reference none of you guys would understand, but apparently Kagoshimans don't say goasu anymore, so that's that. Okinawa-ken is like the Hawaii of Japan. It has a shitload of American soldiers learning karate or something, I don't know. Has the most laid back people in all of Japan, and like to drink and party 24/7. These people have not a care in the world. Here's one cultural differences, right? In all of Japan, a family grave looks like this, and being there is a solemn occasion. In Okinawa, a family grave looks like this, and you party hard there. It's actually insane how much these people do not give a fuck. Anyways, that's basically it. In the future, I'll go more in depth about each prefecture one by one to explain what's going on in places that I haven't mentioned. These two parts have just been a brief stereotype of each prefecture. Anyways, if you liked the video, please give it a like, comment, or something else. Thanks for watching. How the time flies. Ba bum ba bum bum bum. 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 いい湯だな、あははん。いい湯だな、あははん。湯気が天井からぽたりと背中に。冷てえな、あははん。冷てえな、あははん。ここは北国、登り別の湯。パパンパパンパンパン。アピバノノン。パパンパパンパンパン。アピバビバビバン。パパンパパンパンパン。アピバノノン。パパンパパンパンパン。アビバノノン。